The relationship between inflation and Bitcoin.
Why is inflation such a crucial factor in the economy?
That's a tough question. Many Bitcoin enthusiasts tend to oversimplify inflation as something inherently evil. They believe inflation is a monstrous phenomenon caused by governments recklessly printing money and that Bitcoin is the ultimate solution to counteract it, even capable of fixing the world. To some extent, this perspective holds merit. However, I don't fully agree with it. If you study economics, you'll see that different schools of thought exist. Mainstream economic theories, whether Keynesian or monetarist, recognize that inflation plays a necessary role. For society to function, public resources must be secured. The economy isn't just about the free market. Public goods such as welfare, national defense, and law enforcement require funding. These resources ensure social stability and a healthy market environment, but they are not easy to finance. While taxes contribute, governments primarily fund public expenditures through debt. Public resources are not only allocated for essential areas like national defense. Governments also deliberately run deficits as part of economic management. When the economy is in a downturn, the government increases fiscal spending to stimulate economic activity, to encourage people to spend money. We've seen this firsthand during the COVID-19 pandemic. Such measures are necessary to maintain social cohesion. Not everyone in society acts rationally. Even if 999 out of 1,000 people behave logically, there will always be one who does not. When people face financial hardship and lack access to welfare, most will try to earn money through legitimate means, such as taking on extra work. However, some may resort to extreme actions, even armed robbery. That is why, for the sake of social stability and cohesion, governments sometimes need to provide financial support unconditionally, not as a reward for specific actions, but simply as a necessity to prevent society from falling apart. But where does this money come from? Ideally, from individuals, but people naturally resist paying more taxes. So, governments resort to borrowing. The problem is that national debt keeps growing year after year, and there is no straightforward way to eliminate it. The only viable solution? Inflation. From a government's perspective, inflation is a crucial tool for managing public debt. Without it, debt would accumulate endlessly, burdening future generations. If governments strictly adhered to paying off all their debt, it would mean taxing future generations so heavily that their economic activity would be stifled. Over time, this could discourage work and economic participation altogether. Thus, governments use inflation to devalue their debts relative to economic growth. If we were still on a gold standard, or if Bitcoin were widely adopted as the standard, this mechanism would disappear. But whether that would be good or bad remains uncertain. That being said, we can look at it this way. Since governments deliberately induce inflation, individuals have always sought ways to hedge against it. In the past, instead of simply holding KRW or USD, people invested in blue-chip stocks, bonds, or real estate. What is clear, however, is that individuals now have a powerful new option to hedge against inflation: Bitcoin. So, does Bitcoin serve as an individual's hedge against inflation? Yes. Is inflation inherently bad for individuals? 80% yes, 20% no. Is inflation an absolute evil for society as a whole? No. In fact, moderate inflation is beneficial.
Should Bitcoin investors avoid seeing inflation as entirely negative?
That would be a more academic and balanced approach. If a Bitcoin advocate insists that inflation is purely evil, they're trapped in a dogma. Bitcoin will fix the world? There's no historical precedent for such a claim. While it's fine to entertain such ideas abstractly, there's no tangible evidence suggesting Bitcoin will revolutionize society in that way. In the end, the world is just the world.